Speaking English can feel frustrating sometimes, especially when you understand a lot but still freeze when it's time to talk.
Many learners know vocabulary, study grammar, watch videos, and even read in English every day. But when a real conversation starts, their mind suddenly goes blank.
That gap between understanding English and actually speaking it confidently is what we're talking about today.
And honestly, if you've ever felt nervous, embarrassed, slow, or stuck while speaking English, you are definitely not alone.
All right, Leo, let's get into today's topic.
So Anna, let me ask you something. Why do you think speaking English feels so difficult for so many learners?
I think one of the biggest reasons is fear. A lot of learners are afraid of making mistakes, sounding strange, or being judged by other people.
I completely agree, and sometimes that fear becomes stronger than the actual language problem itself.
Exactly. I've met learners who have excellent grammar and a large vocabulary, but when someone asks them a simple question in English, they suddenly panic.
Right, their English knowledge disappears for a moment.
Yes, their mind becomes overloaded. They start thinking about grammar rules, pronunciation, vocabulary, sentence structure, and whether they sound intelligent. That's a lot to process during a live conversation.
Especially because conversations move quickly. You usually don't have 10 seconds to prepare every sentence.
That's true. In real life, people expect natural responses. Even short pauses can make learners feel uncomfortable.
And then they start apologizing.
Exactly. They say things like, "Sorry, my English is bad," even when their English is actually pretty good.
I hear that all the time.
Me too. And honestly, apologizing constantly can reduce your confidence even more.
That makes sense. I think many learners also compare themselves too much to native speakers.
Definitely. Social media has made that worse in some ways. People watch videos of fluent speakers and think, "I'll never sound like that."
Meanwhile, they forget that fluency takes years of practice.
Exactly. Nobody becomes comfortable overnight.
There's another issue, too. Many learners study English mostly through reading and listening, but they don't spend enough time speaking.
That's such an important point. Speaking is a skill, not just information.
Right. You can study grammar for years, but if you rarely open your mouth and practice speaking, conversations will still feel difficult.
It's similar to learning how to play an instrument.
That's a great comparison.
You can watch piano videos every day, but eventually you need to sit down and actually play the piano yourself.
And at first, it's gonna sound messy.
Exactly. Speaking English works the same way.
I remember something interesting from my own experience learning languages. Sometimes I could understand almost everything during a conversation, but when it was my turn to speak, I suddenly felt slow.
That's extremely common.
I knew the words in my head, but forming sentences quickly felt difficult.
That happens because passive knowledge and active knowledge are different things.
Could you explain that a little more?
Of course, passive knowledge means words or grammar that you recognize when you hear or read them. Active knowledge means language you can actually use naturally while speaking.
Ah, understood. So just because I understand a word doesn't mean I can easily use it in conversation.
Exactly. And converting passive vocabulary into active vocabulary takes repetition and real practice.
That explains why learners sometimes say, "I know this word, but I can't remember it when I'm speaking."
Yes, that happens constantly.
Especially during stressful situations.
Right. Stress affects memory and fluency. The more nervous you become, the harder it is to speak clearly.
And unfortunately, many learners feel pressure every time they speak English.
They do. Some learners feel pressure at work, others at school, and many feel pressure simply because they don't want to embarrass themselves.
I think pronunciation also causes a lot of anxiety.
Absolutely. Many learners worry about their accent.
But having an accent is normal.
Exactly. Almost everyone in the world has an accent, even native English speakers from different countries.
That's true. American English, British English, Australian English, and Canadian English all sound different.
Right. The goal is usually clear communication, not perfection.
I think learners need to hear that more often.
I agree. Clear and confident communication matters much more than sounding perfect.
Let's talk about another problem. Sometimes learners translate everything from their native language before speaking.
Yes, and that can slow conversations down a lot.
Because they build the sentence in their first language first, then translate it into English.
Exactly. That process takes time and mental energy.
So what should learners do instead?
One helpful strategy is learning phrases instead of only individual words.
Can you give an example?
Sure, instead of memorizing only the word problem, learners can practice full expressions like, I'm having a problem with, or there seems to be an issue.
That's useful because the phrase becomes automatic.
Exactly. Automatic means something happens naturally without much conscious effort.
That's a very useful word for learners, automatic.
Yes, fluent speakers don't build every sentence word by word from zero. Many common phrases become automatic through repetition.
That explains why native conversations sound so fast sometimes.
Exactly. People are often using familiar sentence patterns repeatedly.
I've noticed that learners who practice chunks of language usually sound more natural.
Absolutely. Expressions like, to be honest, that makes sense, I'm not sure, and as far as I know, help conversations flow more smoothly.
And they also give you time to think.
Exactly. Conversation fillers can reduce pressure while speaking.
Another thing learners struggle with is understanding fast English.
Yes, especially connected speech.
Connected speech?
That's when native speakers blend words together while talking naturally.
Oh, like when want to sounds like wanna.
Exactly. Or going to becomes gonna.
That confused me so much when I first heard it.
A lot of learners feel that way. They study clear textbook English, but real spoken English sounds very different.
And then they think their listening skills are terrible.
Right, when actually they just need more exposure to natural speech patterns.
Exposure is another important word.
Definitely. Exposure means contact or experience with something over time.
So regular exposure to English helps learners become more comfortable with natural speech.
Exactly. Watching conversations, listening to podcasts, and speaking regularly all help train your brain.
Even if you don't understand everything immediately.
Exactly. Understanding improves gradually.
Can I ask you something?
Of course.
Do you think adults have a harder time learning spoken English than children?
That's an interesting question. In some ways, adults face more emotional pressure because they're afraid of sounding foolish.
That's true. Children usually aren't embarrassed about making mistakes.
Exactly. Children often speak freely, even with incorrect grammar.
Meanwhile, adults want every sentence to sound perfect.
Yes, and perfectionism can seriously slow learning.
Perfectionism is such a common problem among language learners.
Definitely. Some learners refuse to speak unless they're sure their sentence is 100% correct.
But real conversations don't work that way.
Not at all. Even native speakers make mistakes, pause, repeat themselves, and change sentences halfway through speaking.
That's true, actually.
Real conversations are messy sometimes, and that's completely normal.
I think many learners imagine fluent speakers never hesitate.
Exactly, but hesitation is natural in every language.
Even this conversation includes pauses and thinking moments.
Of course, that's part of natural communication.
I'd like to talk about confidence for a minute because I think confidence changes everything.
I agree completely.
Some learners with limited vocabulary speak very confidently, while other learners with advanced English stay silent.
That happens all the time.
Why do you think confidence matters so much?
Because confidence helps people continue communicating even when they make mistakes.
That's true.
Confident learners don't stop every time something goes wrong, they keep going, rephrase ideas, and try again.
Rephrase is another useful word.
Yes, rephrase means saying the same idea in a different way.
That skill is incredibly important in conversations.
Absolutely. If you forget a word, you can describe it differently instead of panicking.
For example, if I forget the word umbrella, I might say the thing you use when it rains.
Exactly. Communication is more important than perfect vocabulary.
That mindset can really reduce stress.
Definitely.
There's also the issue of limited speaking environments.
Yes, some learners simply don't have many opportunities to practice English in daily life.
Especially people living in countries where English isn't commonly spoken.
Right, they may study alone for years without regular conversations.
That can make speaking feel unfamiliar and uncomfortable.
Exactly. Speaking requires interaction.
So what can learners do if they don't have English-speaking friends nearby?
There are actually many options now. Language exchange apps, online tutors, conversation groups, podcasts, shadowing practice, and even speaking to yourself can help.
Speaking to yourself really works?
Absolutely. It may feel strange at first, but it helps organize thoughts in English.
Interesting.
For example, you can describe your day while cooking, driving, or walking.
Like I'm making coffee now, or I need to answer some emails later.
Exactly. Small daily speaking habits build fluency over time.
Consistency matters more than perfection.
Very true.
I think another hidden problem is impatience.
I agree completely.
Many learners expect rapid improvement.
Yes, especially today when people see fast transformation videos online.
Someone studies for 2 months and expects complete fluency.
Exactly, but language learning usually happens gradually.
Sometimes improvement feels invisible at first.
That's true. Progress often appears slowly, then suddenly learners realize conversations feel easier than before.
I experienced that myself. One day I noticed I was thinking less before speaking.
That's a major milestone.
Milestone?
A milestone is an important stage or achievement in progress.
Got it. That's a useful word.
Definitely, and learners should celebrate those milestones.
Even small improvements matter.
Absolutely. Understanding one more sentence, speaking a little faster, or feeling slightly less nervous are all signs of progress.
Let's talk about mistakes for a moment because learners worry about them constantly.
They really do.
What would you say to someone who feels embarrassed every time they make a grammar mistake?
I'd say mistakes are evidence that you're actively learning.
That's a healthy way to see it.
If you never make mistakes, you're probably staying inside your comfort zone all the time.
And growth usually happens outside the comfort zone.
Exactly.
I remember once I completely confused 2 English words during a conversation.
What happened?
I wanted to say I'm excited, but I accidentally said I'm exhausted.
That completely changes the meaning.
It definitely did. Everyone looked confused for a second.
What did you do?
I laughed, corrected myself, and continued speaking.
And honestly, that's the best approach most of the time.
Exactly. Small mistakes rarely destroy conversations.
Most people are actually patient and understanding, especially when they know you're learning another language.
Can we talk about thinking in English?
Of course.
A lot of learners hear this advice, but they don't really know how to do it.
That's understandable because thinking in another language takes practice.
So where should learners start?
Start with simple thoughts. You don't need deep philosophical discussions in your head immediately.
That's reassuring.
For example, think about daily activities in English. I need to buy groceries. I'm feeling tired today. The weather looks nice.
Simple internal conversations.
Exactly. Over time, your brain becomes more comfortable processing English directly instead of translating constantly.
That probably improves speaking speed, too.
It definitely helps.
There's something else learners struggle with, listening to different accents.
Yes, that can feel overwhelming at first.
Someone gets comfortable with one accent, then suddenly hears a completely different pronunciation style.
Exactly. English is spoken globally, so learners encounter many varieties.
American, British, Australian, Irish, South African Indian English.
Right. At first, that diversity can seem intimidating.
But eventually it becomes easier with exposure.
Exactly. Your listening flexibility improves over time.
Listening flexibility. I like that expression.
It's important because real-world English isn't limited to one accent or speaking style.
Do you think learners should focus heavily on grammar while speaking?
Grammar is important, but during conversations, communication usually comes first.
So learners shouldn't stop every few seconds trying to build perfect grammar.
Exactly. If you focus too intensely on accuracy during live conversations, fluency can suffer.
That balance is difficult sometimes.
It is. One helpful strategy is separating practice time.
What do you mean?
During study sessions, focus carefully on grammar and corrections. During speaking practice, focus more on expressing ideas naturally.
That's actually really practical advice.
Because conversations require flow and responsiveness.
Not perfection.
Exactly.
Can I share something funny?
Of course.
Sometimes learners understand me perfectly until I ask a casual question like, how's it going?
Because casual English can sound confusing.
Exactly. Learners expect formal textbook sentences.
But native speakers use lots of informal expressions.
Like, what's up? Or, I'm gonna head out.
Exactly. Phrasal verbs and idioms can make English feel much more difficult.
Especially because many expressions don't translate literally.
That's true. Learners often try translating word by word and become confused.
So exposure to real conversations becomes extremely important again.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you something else. What's one habit that improves speaking faster than people expect?
Reading aloud.
Really?
Yes, reading aloud helps pronunciation, rhythm, speaking speed, and confidence.
That makes sense, actually.
It trains your mouth to produce English sounds more naturally.
And learners can practice alone without pressure.
Exactly. Podcasts are also great because learners can repeat sentences after native speakers.
That technique is called shadowing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Could you repeat that word one more time slowly?
Of course, shadowing.
Shadowing. Got it.
Shadowing means listening to a speaker and repeating what they say almost immediately.
That's excellent practice for pronunciation and rhythm.
Definitely.
I think one of the most encouraging things learners should remember is that fluency is not a straight line.
That's very true.
Some days your brain feels tired, distracted, or less focused.
So bad speaking days are normal.
Completely normal.
I think learners sometimes assume one difficult conversation means they're failing.
Exactly. But progress should be measured over months and years, not one single conversation.
Before we finish today's episode, let's give listeners a few final reminders.
Great idea. First, making mistakes while speaking English is completely normal.
Second, confidence grows through consistent practice, not instant perfection.
Third, understanding English and speaking English are different skills, so speaking requires active practice.
And finally, small daily habits can create major long-term improvement.
Even 15 or 20 minutes of regular speaking practice can make a huge difference over time.
Absolutely.
Well, Anna, this was a really honest and encouraging conversation.
I agree, and I hope everyone listening feels less pressure about speaking English now.
If speaking English feels difficult sometimes, remember that you're not alone and that improvement takes time.
Be patient with yourself. Keep practicing regularly and don't let fear stop you from communicating.
Every conversation helps you grow.
Thank you so much for joining us today and spending time practicing English together.
And if you enjoyed this podcast-style conversation, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the English Talk channel, and share this lesson with another English learner.
Keep learning, keep speaking, and most importantly, keep believing in your progress.
We'll see you again very soon in the next episode.
Take care, everyone.
Goodbye and happy learning.